The bees have just devoured that patty. We went around yesterday and filled up all the pails because they are hungry. And today, well, we had the sunshine. Thought it was going to be raining already, but we have bee working weather, so we are in the yards working bees. Not doing a whole lot other than just going through, sifting through, housekeeping, cleaning up the tops, centering clusters, inspecting the flagged hives to see if they're dwindled to the point of having to cut them loose, or identifying those as salvageable that we can then boost in our next round. So not a very intensive round, but very important. A little bit of housekeeping, just a little bit of prep work before we get real busy with some actual brood work to get in these colonies, even out the yards. I've been feeding these colonies a lot over the last month just to help maintain them. But right now, they are absolutely devouring the resources. When we have pollen coming in, they have established this brood nest, and they have a demand for sugar. And we're trying to keep up to them. Almost gone through a tanker already. Typically in the spring I use a tanker, and we're only halfway through and I've already got through a tanker. So I'm gonna have to do a little bit of planning to ensure that I have enough sugars to get the rest of this work done this spring as these colonies actually start to grow and actually start to advance. I was asked by a beekeeper exactly how am I reading the nutrition coming into the nest. So this time of year, when the trees have first come out, that first pollen is coming in, there's a lot of protein coming in the nests, but we typically don't have a lot of sugars coming in the nest with that. There are sugars coming in, you can see it, just little deposits everywhere, but for the most part, it's bulk protein. And as a beekeeper, we have to focus on the sugars as we help them move that development forward. It's not till later on in the spring we start seeing some of the berry and the fruit trees, dandelions, those types of flowers produce more nectar, so we can pull back on the sugars a bit. But this time of year is when we really focus on those sugars to complement all that pollen coming in and just to ignite that nest. So it's important as beekeepers we recognize how these colonies are developing, what do they need, provide what they need just to provide that steady maintenance and development throughout the entire season. Yeah, it's a potential breeder. Hive looks pretty good. Just devoured the patty. How much syrup's in that pail?
It's almost empty.
Empty? Gee whiz. Have to give him some more of that. On the syrup. Rocket fuel. Patty done. Nicely centered cluster. Good looking hive. Pretty quick work. All done. Damn weather. 4th Colorado low in a row. These pails are empty. Eating me at a house and home. I assume they're putting it somewhere useful though. Kind of a cloudy, cool day today. Trees are in bloom though. Imagine the bees are busy. I don't know how much they actually get off that, but they get off whatever they get off of it. They're bringing in loads of pollen. Screaming for moisture last year, and boy, have we gotten it. And look, it's on the horizon now. I drove up here, just seen one farmer going in the field on sand. So typically our farm, we watch for when they start, and we're about a week, maybe 10 days after. So that puts us pretty late. But if they've got to start, then we have some hope here. It just depends how much falls from that cloud. Curses anyways, eh? We're never happy. But look at least we have moisture for growth. That's very important. Can't grow a crop without rain. Can't make honey without rain either. But I could do without this wind. Well, it was a nice evening for a drive, I guess. Should have brought my wife. Nice to see him feeding. I have to watch here. That's just about done. They are going to take a step ahead on me here. We are at least a month behind. I mean, middle of May. And we should be, what we should be doing? Well, typically we're setting up builders right now. We're typically scrambling to get seconds in all the single hives. We're typically thinking about transferring all these nukes into single bodies. Middle of May. Second last week of May is when we typically run our split. This year is absolutely ridiculous. I don't even know what to think about it. So this is the yard that I moved inside. Before all that weather, this is actually my toughest yard. Moved them in because they're in an awkward spot. I didn't actually get around to them. It's always too windy before we could get actually into them to get any feed. So I moved this yard inside and they sat for 3 weeks. I had put protein on inside the shed, fed them syrup, and they sat for 3 weeks at 5 degrees. I missed out on those 3 weeks of snow, rain, cold, minus 15 weather. This yard hasn't seen any dwindling as compared to the rest of my operation. It's just dwindling away from me. If I could have moved my whole operation inside, dropped patty and pails, if I would have had space, that'd be far better for it. Just not in the cards. Hardly had enough space for this truckload because I had to put pails on. I had to get at them too to get protein onto them. So I just had enough space to put this truckload in and then all my nukes. And I think it helped my nukes too. So all that effort was worth it. Bees, bees, bees. It's a good looking yard. So I'll yield some strength, hopefully make up for some lost ground on this. This is my arc yard. These are the hives where they're just about floating. This yard wasn't quite floating, they were only half submerged. So they're pretty tough going. So all we've done is we medicated them and we've just left them alone. Put some rocket fuel on them, but that's all we've done. Brief inspection is showing me that they are it's pretty hard nests, but they're cleaning things up. And we'll come back through and assess them. I don't want to assess them too soon. Well, that one's doing all right. So we just put some rocket fuel and medication into them. That's all the investment we put into these so far. So we got to go through and check them to see if they're worthy before we do anything more with them. You'd wonder. Oh, I better not start tipping colonies. That one's all right. My goodness. Where did that come from? No, no, no more. I'm not going to tip anymore. That's it. Sometimes it's best just to walk away. Just walk away. Call it a day.